But nevertheless, so there was a lot of time that passed, but it was clear that he was about to rule the wrong way.
Did you hear from everybody then afterwards in your life? Because I was like, okay, we have to put this on the show right now.
So we're having a hearing about the fact that you don't have the audio recordings from the AG. Got it. Because you can't hear him anyway. So what do you need it for?
Jasmine Crockett just did what we've been waiting for. She dismantled MTG on live TV, leaving her scrambling in the aftermath. The phrase, "no dressed her down," doesn't even cover the verbal smackdown that left everyone talking. But was this the win Democrats needed, or just politics turned into theater? You don't want to miss why this moment matters. Before we move on, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What happens when someone turns the far right's favorite weapon of aggressive theatrics against them?
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen, I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Well, Jasmine Crockett just showed us. The clash began with Marjorie Taylor Greene kicking things off in classic style, loud, accusatory, and determined to dominate the room. She called Crockett's expertise into question, waving off her credentials like they were just props in a play. It was Greene trying to assert control, setting up one of her typical chaotic confrontations. What she didn't know? Crockett came prepared to play the game on Greene's turf, but with actual strategy. And then the flip happened. Crockett didn't yell. She didn't try to match Greene's volume or unfiltered chaos. Instead, she zeroed in with cool precision. Her responses were sharp and deliberate, everything Greene's brand of performances usually isn't. And as Greene tried to steamroll her with questions and interruptions, Crockett delivered a stinger that instantly lit up the moment. From head to toe, I dressed her down. That wasn't just a mic drop. It was a full deconstruction of everything Greene was doing. Crockett didn't just hit back with words. It was her entire presence that shut it down. She spoke with authority, didn't flinch, and managed to make Greene's theatrics look even more flimsy in comparison.
And ultimately, she, just
She attacked you, personally.
She did.
Yeah, she started it.
She did.
Bleach blonde.
Bad built.
Butch
body.
Butch body.
That's right.
Was that floating around in your head before this?
No.
Holy cow, that just came out?
Let's unpack that phrase for a second. Dressed her down. On paper, it sounds like a straightforward insult. But it wasn't just about words. Crockett's choice carried layers of meaning. Verbally, sure, it was a takedown, but the delivery? Calm, poised, and undeniably commanding. It also felt like a challenge to Greene's whole brand. Here's a congresswoman known for grabbing headlines with her brashness, her exaggerated attacks, her insistence on dominating the room. And here's Crockett flipping all of that on its head to prove a point. Shouting doesn't always equal strength. The contrast was almost surreal. Greene, who's often quick to overwhelm with volume and bravado, looked visibly flustered at times. And Crockett, completely still, composed, each comeback more strategic than the last. Picture it. Crockett leaning back ever so slightly, letting Greene unravel in her own frustration. It wasn't just a debate. It was like watching someone slowly defuse a bomb, except the bomb was Greene's ego. When you think about how one party works over time on the performance of power.
So my pastor actually called me while we were in the hearing. And so I sent him the voicemail and I was like, I'm in a hearing. And he was like, I know.
I get the sense that it's not just Democrats that don't like her.
Oh, no. Like, her people don't like her either.
Her people don't like her either.
The next time you say bleach blonde, bad built, butch body, please let me know so I don't have water in my mouth and spit it out. So now I'm upset because it's already late at night. I've been here all day, ready to work. Y'all aren't here. And you're still talking about that failed trial. So I had to ask her if she understood because she's not the brightest.
It was refreshing and frankly hilarious to see that performance collapse under something as simple as preparation and logic. And this isn't the first time Democrats have found themselves in these kinds of televised confrontations. Too often, though, they've taken the passive route. They'll try to avoid getting dragged into the mud, retreating into politeness instead of engaging. You've probably seen it before. You know, the awkward lip presses, the polite, I don't have time for this tone. By the time they've worked up a response, the far right has already sucked all the oxygen out of the room. Green thrives on those moments, where loudness overshadows substance. That clearly is what she expected here too. But Crockett took a completely different approach. One that stood out not just because it worked, but because it didn't rely on mimicry. She didn't try to out-green Green. Instead, she brought facts and focus to a game that usually rewards chaos. And now the conversation isn't about whether Green won or lost. It's about whether Democrats have found a blueprint for dealing with these tactics without resorting to the same empty noise. This could be a turning point. Crockett didn't just highlight Green's inability to stick to substance. She forced everyone watching to reconsider how these encounters could go in the future. What if, instead of stepping back or throwing out sound bites, Democrats consistently walked into these scenarios ready to dominate, not just survive? Facts and preparation, as Crockett showed, don't just counter-performative outrage, they can dismantle it. It hints at a strategy that's more sustainable than trying to match the far right in theatrics. And it wasn't just about proving a point in the moment. Crockett's composure sent a message that could ripple far beyond this hearing, and Green likely knows it. That might explain why Green seemed especially rattled by the end. She realized too late that the usual formula of hollering and creating drama only works if the other person lets it. When they don't, well, you get what just happened. The most interesting part? This wasn't even the most important thing Crockett pulled off that day. As if the verbal takedown wasn't enough, Crockett turned the tables again. This time with stakes that went beyond the hearing room. Let's talk about the ethics bombshell she casually dropped, and why it might just make Green wish this moment had ended with words alone. Just when everyone thought the fireworks were over, Jasmine Crockett turned the hearing into something far more explosive. What started as a verbal showdown suddenly took a sharp turn when Crockett shifted her focus from sparring with Green to something much more serious: money. Specifically, she started digging into Green's financial dealings, and let's just say, things got uncomfortable fast. This wasn't Crockett throwing accusations into the air. It was a carefully calculated move, the kind of setup that leaves breadcrumbs for investigators to follow, and Green walked right into it. How did she do it? With the precision of someone who knows exactly where to look. Crockett, with her background as a public defender, used her legal chops to ask pointed questions about suspicious defense sector investments. But here's the kicker. She didn't name Green outright at first. Instead, she brought up examples of unnamed members of Congress making perfectly timed trades in defense stocks, like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, just before key votes around military budgets. It wasn't subtle, though. Everyone in that room, and everyone watching, knew where she was leading. And when Crockett finally requested Green's financial disclosures be entered into evidence, that's the moment Green's confidence started to crack. The stakes here aren't just about optics. Congressional rules require members to disclose their financial transactions, and when the timing of those trades lines up with committee work or votes, red flags go flying. Insider trading accusations have damaged political careers before, even without direct evidence. Just look at former Representative Chris Collins, who ended up in prison for insider trading charges. Crockett wasn't just winning a debate. She might have set things in motion that Green can't easily shake off. After all, watchdog groups don't need much of a push to file ethics complaints, especially when there's a trail to follow. What's fascinating about this tactic is how it changes the game. Typically, hearings like this turn into shouting matches that amount to little more than viral sound bites. But Crockett's decision to steer the conversation toward Green's financial dealings elevated the entire confrontation. She wasn't playing to the crowd. She was playing the long game, and Green's reaction made it clear she didn't see it coming. Instead of addressing the substance of Crockett's questioning, Green focused on procedural complaints, even demanding Crockett's words be stricken from the record. That move only made her look more vulnerable, as if she couldn't handle the implications hanging over her. Crockett didn't just roast Green in public. She tied her up with enough string that she might never shake free. But the bigger question is this: was this a tactical one-off, or are we seeing the rise of a whole new approach from Democrats? Let's dig into that possibility next, because this moment might be less about Green and more about where politics as we know it is headed. Jasmine Crockett's takedown of Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't just a clash. It was a masterclass. She didn't fall for drama or rise to childish bait. Instead, she turned clarity into a weapon, leaving Greene scrambling for a defense. For too long, some Democrats have either stayed quiet or leaned into theatrics, but Crockett showed another way. using preparation to shred outrage. So, what do you think? Is this the new blueprint for political battles, or does it risk getting too ruthless? Either way, one thing's clear: the rules are shifting, and Crockett just became the face of what's next.